Hi, I'm Heather. Welcome to class. Today we're going to continue on with the basic back bending theme. Last week I uploaded a video called Basic Back Bending and we didn't practice Salabhasana or Dhanurasana, so today we're going to focus on those poses. Before we begin, if you find this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. Let's take our mat into the wall and have a chair on the floor in front of your mat, facing the mat. And depending on your flooring and the thickness of your mat, you may like to have a blanket underneath the abdomen because the ribs and the pelvic bones may dig into the floor, and this offers you a bit of padding. We're going to come to lay down on our abdomen, face the chair, and see that you have enough room to point the toes back behind you without touching the wall. We're going to come to use the wall in a moment. Check that the blanket is not underneath your thighs, it's just underneath the pelvis and the abdomen and the rib cage. And for a moment, let's just prop ourselves up on the forearms. Can you get your elbows underneath the shoulders? Hands can come together. And then lift your chest up. We'll also activate the legs. So start by driving the forearms into the floor, lift the chest, and as you activate the legs, press the front feet down into the floor, lift the kneecaps off the floor. Let's do that again. Relax the legs, relax your torso and your arms. See that the elbows are shoulder width. Drive the forearms into the floor to rebound the chest up away from the floor. So we're creating as much length in the neck as we can and lift in the chest as we can, and we're drawing the thoracic spine forward towards the breastbone. Activate your legs, press the front feet into the floor to lift the kneecaps off the floor. Internally rotate your thighs. So the inner thighs are rolling up and the outer hips are rolling down towards the floor. Can you get the sense that you're trying to pull the mat back towards your hips as you drive the forearms down? Okay, let's come down. Have a little rest for a moment. Relax your spinal muscles. We're going to use the chair very soon. Now again, with the activation of the legs, let's bring that in first. Press the front feet down, so the toes are pointing, you're on the toenails. Lift the kneecaps off the floor, internally rotate your thighs. Now, reach the hands to your chair and slide the chair away from you. So at this stage, my hands are about halfway up the legs of the chair. And I've got a crossbar here that I could access, depends on your chair, but I can push into the crossbar or hold the legs of the chair to help lift the chest up. So rather than just letting the body collapse, use the strength of the arms, press into the chair to lift the sternum up, roll your outer shoulders down, and again, press the front feet into the floor to lift the kneecaps off the floor so the legs are firm and straight. Direct your tailbone to the heels so that will feel as if you're pressing the pubis into the floor more. And then let's come down, have a moment of rest. Okay, now we'll go again. If you can manage, bring your hands onto the seat of the chair. So you've got the outer hands, the outer wrist pressing into the seat of the chair. You could also press the palms flat into the chair. I like using the outer hand on the chair. It helps the biceps to roll up and the outer shoulders to roll down. Press into the chair. If that's too high, take your hands back down lower. But as you press into the chair, lift your chest up and then again activate your legs. So you're pressing the front feet into the floor, kneecaps lifting off the floor. I've got the feet hip width apart, the hands shoulder width apart. Then if you can work with the elevation of the legs, do that. Raise the feet up off the floor. And again, you can have the feet hip width apart. That may create a little more space in the sacrum. Lift up the chest as you drive the hands down into the chair. And then come down and have a rest. I'm going to place 2 tall bricks against the wall, hip width apart, for the next variation of Salabhasana. We'll be bringing the feet up onto the bricks, so that helps with our leg elevation. Let's lie down again on the abdomen. And you'll need to be closer to the wall so that you can get the feet onto the bricks. Now you'll note I've got the toes coming down on the front part of the brick, then the ball of the foot can press onto the upper part of the brick. And I'm not necessarily trying to get the heels to the wall. It's more that idea of elevating the legs as I push the heels back in the direction of the wall. So let's place our 2 feet on the bricks and make sure your chair is within reach. You can start with the hands down low, but let's activate the legs first. Press the shin bones up so that you can straighten the knees. Internally rotate your thighs. Inner thighs roll up. Then as you press into the chair, you might choose to walk your hands up. Halfway up the legs of the chair, you might manage to take the hands up onto the seat of the chair. Remember, you're not just relaxing here and hanging, you're driving the arms, the hands into the chair to lift the sternum up, roll the outer shoulders down, and feel that you're balancing, so to speak, on the abdominal area between the pelvic bones and the ribs. And observe your breath. The breath may be a little short and shallow, that's okay. Just notice and keep it steady. And then let's come down and relax. Now, I've moved the mat away from the wall, put the bricks aside, the chair aside. We're going to do Salabhasana without the props. Let's lie down on the front body again and set yourself so that the forehead can rest on the floor as we start. Take the arms alongside the body with the palms facing up, and we'll activate the legs and the arms. So let's press the front feet into the floor, bring the big toes to touch, and take the inner heels apart so that we can exaggerate that idea of rolling the inner thighs up towards the ceiling. As you drive the front feet into the floor, lift the kneecaps off the floor. Then press the back of the hands onto the floor to peel the shoulder tips away from the floor. The arms and the legs are straight. So as you're pressing the hands into the floor and peeling the shoulder tips away from the floor, slowly start to lift the head up. Look forward and go on using the strength of the arms as you drive the hands into the floor to work the shoulder tips back. Then you can raise the hands off the floor, arms coming parallel to the floor. You're still looking forward. Then raise the legs up. Keep the big toes touching now. Roll the inner thighs up towards the ceiling. Breathe smoothly. And then slowly let's come down and have a rest. Let's do another variation. We'll interlock the fingers behind the back. Start with your forehead on the floor again and pull the knuckles towards your feet. Shoulder tips press back. Drive the front feet into the floor, lift the kneecaps off the floor. Bring the big toes to touch, but separate the inner heels so that you can really feel that internal rotation of the thighs. As you pull the knuckles further and further towards the feet, roll the shoulders back more and more, the head lifts, look forward. Keep the arms straight, elbows straight, and then raise the legs up, keep the legs straight, and pull the feet back towards the wall behind you. So not so much focusing on the lift of the legs, the height of the legs, but the length now. Lengthen the legs to the wall behind you. Lengthen the arms to the wall behind you. And then come down and again have a rest. We're going to move on to Dhanurasana now, the bow pose. And we're going to work with mobility in the knees, and we'll just work one leg at a time to start. So prop yourself up on the elbows. Take your left forearm across so that it's parallel to the front edge of your mat, and reach the right hand back, catch the right ankle. If your knees don't like flexing so much, you could always put a belt around this right ankle and hold on to the belt. Let's peel the toes away from the buttock, pull the heel away from the buttock, press the shin bone to the wall behind you, and you'll note that the more you pull the heel away from the buttock, the more the chest lifts and the shoulder rolls back, right shoulder rolls back. Then can you lift the right knee and thigh off the floor? Come down, lower that right leg. Let's swap arms and swap legs. Prop yourself up on the right forearm. So you're still keeping the chest lifted. Reach the right hand back, catch the ankle, peel the toes away from the buttock, peel the heel away from the buttock. So again, we're asking the strength of the leg to help in the action of rolling the shoulder tip back. And that will open this pectoral area, the chest broadening. Go on peeling the heel away from the buttock, pressing the shin to the wall behind you. And then see if you can lift the knee off the floor, lift the thigh off the floor. And then lower the leg, come down and have a rest. Let's consider the position of the thigh and the shin bone in Dhanurasana. Ideally, we're bringing the knee more and more into a right angle when we're in Dhanurasana. The thigh will be off the floor, but we want to feel that we're pulling the heel away from the buttock so much that the shin bone comes more and more parallel to the wall behind us. Now that can be challenging because of the strength in our legs, but also because of the mobility in our back and our shoulders. The more we pull the heels away from the buttocks, the more the shoulders are required to roll back and open. We're going to see if we can do opposite arm to opposite leg and challenge ourselves in that manner. Come onto the left forearm, keep your chest lifted, and reach the right hand back to the left ankle. So once you've got your grip, and again, you can use a belt around your foot if it's difficult to reach the foot or the ankle. Peel the toes back, keep both sides of the pelvis level on the floor as you then pull the heel away from the buttock more and more. Press the shin bone to the wall behind you so that you can then roll the right shoulder tip back. Feel that right side chest broaden, but go on driving the pubis down, tailbone lengthening towards your knees. And as the left knee lifts up off the floor, we're feeling the weight more on the abdominal area between the pelvic bones and the ribs. Then come down, lower that left leg, swap arms. So you're on the right forearm. The left hand reaches back to catch the right ankle. So it's the opposite hand to foot. Peel the toes back and pull the heel away from the buttock. Now you can continue to drive the right forearm down into the floor to help you lift the chest, but use the strength of the leg more and more. Press the shin bone to the wall behind you and lift the knee off the floor. And go on moving the tailbone towards the knees, pubis down. Level the pelvis on the floor. Keep breathing. And then come down and have a rest for a moment. Now we go for both feet. Reach your hands back as you bend the knees. Catch the ankles, or if it's difficult to catch the ankles, you could try catching the front of the feet. Or, as I mentioned when we were doing one leg at a time, Put a belt around the ankles now and hold on to your belt. Once we've got a grip, whether it's of the belt or the feet, then pull the heels away from the buttocks more and more. So even before lifting the thighs off the floor, as you pull the heels away from the buttocks, that's going to help lift your chest up. The shoulder tips will roll back, but you hold the arms firm in the shoulder joint. Then, if you can manage, lift the knees off the floor, thighs off the floor. Go on pressing the shin bones to the wall behind you, but stay resting on the space between the pelvic bones and the ribs. The shoulder blades will want to squeeze in close towards the spine. Try not to pinch the spine with the shoulder blades. And steady your gaze. And then come down and have a rest. It's common in Dhanurasana for the knees to flare out wide, for there to be that external rotation of the thighs and potentially jamming through the sacrum and the lumbar spine. So what we can do is use a belt around the thighs close to the knees to help contain the knees. Let's create a hip width loop that we can put around the legs. So that belt is just above the knees. We'll come to lay on the abdomen once more. And we can bend the knees, catch the feet or the ankles, and lift up into Dhanurasana. Pull the heels away from the buttocks and lift the heels up towards the ceiling at the same time. Press the shin bones to the wall behind you. Internally rotate your thighs. Inner thighs roll up towards the ceiling, outer hips roll down towards the floor. Steady your gaze, relax your facial muscles. And then let's come down and have a rest. Now we're going to change from being on our tummy to being on our back, and we'll translate the expression of Dhanurasana now into Chatush Padasana. And this can be very soothing after back bends because we have a significant neck flexion, and that helps to quieten the nervous system. Lay on your back and see that the feet are close to the hips, heels are close to the buttocks. Catch the outer edges of the mat. Inhale. Exhale as you drive the feet into the floor, lift your hips up. Roll the shoulders under. So you've got a similar kind of opening across the upper chest and the front shoulders as you did in Dhanurasana. Drive the upper arm bones down into the floor to lift the armpit chest up. The very sides of the chest here from the armpit lift up vertically. Sternum moves towards the chin. Then as you pressurize the feet down, lift the outer hips up towards the ceiling. Direct your tailbone to the knees. Relax your throat. And then undo the tuck of the shoulders, come down and settle the pelvis down. Keep your knees bent as you relax. We're going to go again, and this time we'll see if we can put the fingers underneath the heels. Walk the feet in close enough. See if you can put your fingers underneath your heels. Stamp the heels down into the fingers. Try not to turn the toes out. Keep the feet tracking parallel to each other. Inhale. Exhale as you stamp the heels down into the fingers, lift your hips up, outer hips lift, and again, tuck your shoulders under so you're coming to stand on the tops of the shoulders. Drive the upper arm bones down into the floor. So you're not just settling down on the upper back region, you're driving the upper arm bones down to lift the armpit chest up more, lift the breastbone up more. Keep the knees hip width apart. And then come down, undo the tuck of the shoulders, relax the pelvis down. And we're going to try one more variation, the catch of the ankles. Now, if the knees are problematic, it may be best for you to actually put a belt around the ankles and hold on to the belt, because it could be challenging to bring the feet in close. But if you can manage, catch hold of your ankles, bring the heels in very close to the buttocks, and then as you press the feet down into the floor, lift your hips, tuck your shoulders under, roll the inner knees down. Sternum broad. Upper arms, shoulder tips drive down into the floor. And then come out of the pose, come down, have a rest. Then before finishing the practice, you may like to hug the knees into the chest to bring some length to your lower back. That's it for today. Thanks for joining me. For more in-depth teaching, check out the video library on my website, heatherkitchenyoga.com.au. The link is in the description box below.